Hey everybody, how are we doing tonight? Kenny B here. 6/21/22, first day of summer, longest day of the year. How you guys doing? Thank you to our friends over at YouTube for the free bumper music. Haven't been on camera lately, caught the crazy COVID, and well, that's just the way it goes this time around, though. Boy, it seems to be resurging again. I tried to report my numbers, testing numbers, to the state of Massachusetts. Can't find any place to report, the home testing, which is kind of a bummer because it's kind of skewing the stats on COVID and where it's running wild and where it's not running wild, but it's still out there and it's got many forms. And there's a drug called Paxlovid that you can take, and you can get it from your doctor and by prescription while they're giving it away. And you take it for 5 days, and it's supposed to stop the symptoms of COVID. Pretty much that I've spoken to a lot of people. Oh, it stops it immediately, but it also, I've heard great things. I took it. I didn't really feel a difference. But there's also the likelihood in some cases that you can get bounce back COVID from taking Paxlovid. I'm telling you, man. So anyway, I just wanted to check in with you real quick because I haven't done a video for a while. I've been home. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well and being healthy and doing what you can to be healthy. So the average gas price in Massachusetts right now is about $5+ a gallon. It seems like the Biden administration wants to maybe give a gas holiday, which is like, the federal gas tax is about 18 cents plus. That's not really going to do much, but he opened his mouth, and it's political suicide if you do that. And, and you don't honor your word. You can't put something out there and not do it. Now, what a gas holiday is, I don't know. A holiday generally is 1 day. But meanwhile, the Biden administration has written letters to all the big 7-10 petroleum producing companies in America, asking them to, to drill more, to do. I don't know what's going to help. Right now the housing prices in Massachusetts have gone up exponentially. The average housing for a single family home, which single family homes, man, they're huge. They are just huge. And I've talked about this before, but $510,000 in Massachusetts for an average home. With interest rates going up and really shady real estate deals going on, people overpaying for a home just so they can have it. They're claiming it's low inventory, driving up the demand. I don't see a way around that. But I also think about really, quickly, that's the middle class. The president, any president always likes to talk about the middle class, but what about, there's the middle, so that must mean there's a top class, and there's a middle class, so there must be a bottom class. We don't call it that, right? But when we start talking that class arrangement, if you will, in society, what do you call it? So people at the bottom, how are they ever going to get a leg up? People on Social Security, people on disability insurance, people who live in, public housing. I mean, they look at these prices. I look at these prices for just housing, So how do you do it? So you're at where you're at. You're stuck where you're stuck. Yeah, you can get a job. There's no job right now that I can go out and get um, that's going to afford me um, to pay $510,000 for wood, two by fours, insulation, and by the way, cost overruns. Um, Contractors right now are putting a surcharge on private contractors I know, charging for their gasoline at least 4 to 5% built into their quote. Um, so I just don't see that. I just don't see how it's possible. Condos within the metropolitan Boston metropolitan area, $675,000 for condos. Now, maybe talking about the waterfront in Boston. Um, who knows? But you know, and yeah, I'm sure some of these prices, if you're an affluent person, which most people aren't, it doesn't hurt you. $5, $6, $7. Also, too, I'm challenging the argument that it's about time America paid its fair share for gasoline. I'm not buying into that at all. Not buying into that. Um, when it starts costing you more money to go to work than you make, then we're having a problem. Inflation is on its way. Um, I saw this article in to be a little bit lighthearted in the Worcester Telegram about a chicken ordinance in Worcester, and it's been all over the news. And single family homes. Right now we're a plant-based agriculture in Worcester, but there's a push to be able to grow poultry. 6 hens can produce 42 eggs a week. What are you going to do with 42 eggs a week, by the way? Um, you know, uh, we should do it because Somerville and cities like Worcester are allowing poultry being raised. That's great. I mean, Worcester is a dense city, but it's also a city of neighborhoods. And so, is there room to grow or raise, if you will, farm animals, goats? And yes, there are. But, I challenge it too that you can drive north, south, east, west. You may not drive, I get it. But most people that don't drive are not going to be raising chickens. Um, but you can drive anywhere to any local farm, the hundreds of local farms around here, and get fresh eggs, fresh produce, um, you know, and now there's this push to be able to raise livestock, uh, game, if you will, hens, goats, and Worcester in the 1800s, as it began to grow, you used to have the animal pounds. Animals would wander off their land, and it was not uncommon for on Main Street in Worcester for chickens to be running around. And but as the city grew, they became an intolerance of it because it's dirty, it's noisy. Um, they invite, uh, well, that practice invites predators such as coyotes, raccoons. Raccoons love poultry, foxes. So just wanted to bring that up. You can check it out on the tng.com if they allow you in. Saw a great article in the Worcester Business Journal, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago with the Worcester Bravehearts versus the Worcester Red Sox, and two different types of baseball. But the letter was actually written to the Worcester Business Journal by John W.S. Creedon Jr. Um, I've met John several times. Family-owned business, and the Bravehearts are included in that. Um, but he, apparently the Worcester Business Journal put out an article several months ago saying that they are fighting, the Worcester Bravehearts are fighting a losing battle, and Mr. Creedon says, um, your headline flies in the face an underdog story and cuts against the grain of our small staff of gritty, happy warriors, led by the indomitable Dave Peterson. Um, the Bravehearts compete with Worcester's new AAA baseball team. It's accurate, Mr. Creedon says, um, and the fact skillfully city leaders have never publicly acknowledged. Um, so he's going on to say that our product, um, as much as it's both baseball, the Woo Sox, and the Bravehearts, um, Mr. Creedon makes some very distinct points in the article in the Worcester Business Journal. Bravehearts' battle in 2021 was not so much against the most expensive minor league baseball stadium in America. That's the one. That's the one people in Worcester are going to end up paying for. Um, we were not certain the Bravehearts would play games back at Fitton Field due to College of the Holy Cross restrictions back from COVID, so they lost attendance. What he does say, and Mr. Creedon does make, acknowledges this point. The Bravehearts' advantage is our model is still viable with as few as 750 fans per game. The AAA club, the Worcester Red Sox, needs to attract many more fans than it did in 2021 and do that for decades. And he's right. If they are to avoid sticking the city's hardworking taxpayers with the team's bills. I look at the Woo Sox now. I'm starting to think Worcester got a little screwed here. And Ed Augustus is gone, and this is his legacy, but we'll see in 10 years. The Worcester Bravehearts are the free parking, fabulous baseball stars, local baseball stars. They have whimsical entertainment, which I'm not crazy about, but I get this is their show. All for less than taking the cost of your family out to dinner. So it's a David and Goliath thing. And he also says that David did beat Goliath. So, we'll see in a few years how the Woo Sox do. The one thing I've learned about the Woo Sox are that, they play the same teams over and over and over again, and it becomes really uninteresting. That maybe we would have been better off with a AA team in Worcester. And I was one of the ones that said, hey, we should always have AAA baseball, but the whole AAA baseball thing has changed. A lot of teams are gone. There was a whole realignment in the MLB. So we'll see how the Woo Sox fare. But, that's 9,000 plus people in a seat, and you'd have to have that in every game for so many years to pay this park off. And what's it, 140, 150 million? Doesn't sound like a lot of money. It is a lot of money if you can't pay the bill. The parking, what you pay for parking, I guess if you go to the Hartford Yard Goats, easy off the highway, $5 park wherever you want. But the parking has to pay for the stadium, So kudos to the Creedons and John Creedon Jr. for writing a really, really good article. You can check it out on the Worcester Business Journal. Backfill it because it's a couple months old, but I just happened to catch it, and he's absolutely right. Anyway, guys, I'm going to crash out here and, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, I hope. Take care. Kenny Bisson signing out here from Cities and Suburbs. Take care. And block, block, block.